Welcome to the Mundo Show. My name is Mundo. I am your host, and I am one of Pace Morby's business partners, where we own a 181-unit apartment complex together. I'm a two-time CFO of the year. I own multiple companies. I have been featured in Forbes, and I've spoken on the same stages with some of the best, such as Grant Cardone, Mundo Sanchez, and Pace Morby. I am your host, where we talk all things related to real estate and business. So let's go ahead and dive right in and talk to today's guest. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Today we have a special guest. We have an Owners Club member, Mando, and we have the battle of Mando versus Mundo today. We're going to see who wins. We were talking before we joined here that we both have an obligation to each other to maintain a good brand within the community and do good things, because we often get confused for each other a lot of times. So welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, brother. I get confused for you. You're the big dog. You've been on the stage, but I appreciate connecting with you again. I aligned with you a little bit. Like I said, people kind of confuse us. So I said, I got to know this guy, Mundo. And then Mundo happened to join Owners Club. I said, oh, no, I got to reach out to this guy for sure. And he had said, yo, I've been the first guy to join OC this year. He had it on his vision board. So I was like, you know what? We're going to connect right away then.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the initiative and jumping on the podcast today. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you for taking out the time and connect and align ourselves. We're in the same space now, in the same intimate room. So it's only now our responsibility to start aligning and, with our journeys. And again, just make it an easy transition for the new family coming on. So that's kind of why I wanted to reach out as well, right? To make an easy transition for the new guys coming in and gals this year. And again, I'm super excited for everyone who's coming on board. Super, super excited for you guys' journey.
Heck yeah. So maybe take me back to the beginning, man. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about your background, how you got started, and all that good stuff.
Sweet. I'm in New York City. I worked in healthcare 25 years. I've done it all. I've cooked. I went to restaurant school. I DJ'd. I bartended. You know, that New York lifestyle, you kind of do it all just to get around. And I'm sort of very artistic as well. So I lean towards the arts. So those are things that I kind of chose in my career as well. And I kind of figured out that I wanted some control, but not in a control in a subtle way. Like when you're a DJ, you kind of control the flow of a room without people knowing. And sort of the same way in when you're cooking meals and right, you're setting the tone for whatever palate, whatever taste you want people to experience. So those are things that I also discovered about myself being in this community literally years after. Again, you start to impute a lot of layers being in this space. And so, yeah, and in a real estate side, I got it at home. My mom was a real estate investor, but she was not an investor here in the States. She was an investor in Costa Rica. My mom passed 8 years ago. And I kind of had the experience of learning that her spirit as an immigrant, and my dad, who's Puerto Rican, he had a kind of a strong work ethic, worked 40 years, never called out sick. That's kind of meat and potatoes type of guy. My mom was kind of the free thinker, the trendsetter. I want to do it all. So they kind of butted heads, not butted heads, but they had different, they brought different things to the relationship. So my mom here in New York City, I want to buy this building. I want to buy that house. Let's do this. Let's do that. And he's kind of very negative. He's like, no, 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 always no, no, no. I don't want to do that. So, he's kind of a dream killer, to be honest with you. But she pivoted and she said, you know what? I'm going to invest in my homeland, in my own country. And that's what she did. So when I was really young, we used to go every summer for like 7, 8 years. And she would have appointments set up by her sisters in Costa Rica to buy land, flip houses, build new constructions, buy farmland, strawberry fields, coffee fields. And she did that for years and years and years because my dad hated to fly as well. So he always would stay behind, like on summer, when I was out for summer. So she would do all these things. And I grew up seeing these things, right? So I was a natural fit for me when I started getting older to get into the real estate spot. And she kind of funded my first 2 deals.
Amazing.
yeah, she got me again, and I had that financial education at home, so I was able to avoid a lot of pitfalls that young people go through. Like when you go to college, the first day of school, whatever, they have all these tables outside, get you in the credit cards and all this, all these trappings that you're not really educated. You think you're getting free money by swiping a card, not knowing that there's a back end payment to that. So I kind of figured out all those trappings beforehand because my mom had educated me firsthand on how to invest, how to be financially savvy, and how to avoid the trappings, right? Because there's trappings everywhere, especially when you're a really young person and you don't have that ability to forecast, over time what these things can do for you as you get older. So I was able to avoid a lot of the pitfalls, and like I said, the journey started at home for me.
That's amazing. So how long have you been in the sub two community?
I'm not in sub two. I'm actually a Gator. I'm more on the money
Oh,
side.
okay, I got you.
I'm a Gator. I joined Gator. I lend, prior, I've always been a lender kind of, and then I discovered that you can kind of do this like legitimately. I was like, wow, this is different. So I would lend on people's houses who wanted need a down payment or car payment, stuff like that. And things that I learned from my mom. My mom did that
Wow.
stuff as well. She was a hustler. Uh, I don't know if you call it a shark, but she was a shark. You know what I'm saying? And she did it all, and she would sell perfumes, cologne. She did it all. So I kind of picked up on those skill sets as well. And I joined Gator. I first joined the community through Jamil. I joined Astro Flipping in
Okay.
2020, February of 2020. He came in my stratosphere. I was like, hey, I want to keep growing in real estate. Because prior to that, I was buying all retail. I had no education on these new ways of investing. So I joined Astro right before COVID, and I went through the course and I kind of realized this is not what I wanted to do. This is not my avenue. But Pace kept on popping up in my algorithms and I kept on swiping. Who's this guy with the hat? Swipe, swipe. And one day it was a Gator webinar, whatever it was, a promo, and I decided to hit it. I was like, come on, this guy, enough is enough. Let's see who this Pace guy is. And I joined, it was a webinar. I was like, oh man, oh, sweat, you could do this? Oh, you could do that? I was like, I'm in. And Pace, he's gonna reel you in. There's no way out. And I
Mm,
clicked that button, I clicked the next button, and I'm in. And I was like, oh man, this is an incredible community. And I kind of got in, but I didn't get in. I was doing some major construction in my house here in New York City, and I knew I didn't have the time to really focus on that. So I gave myself a date, right, to re-engage. Right, these things are very important for people. Sometimes that they start something and they don't commit. It's good to kind of write it down and set a goal where you can see it, where you make it undeniable, where you can follow up. So I said January 1st of 2024, I'm gonna re-engage in this. That was a Tuesday. I had a journal. I started journaling every day, getting into the courses, into the modules, and writing the journals, what I was learning, what I had difficulties in understanding, and that led up to Squad Up last year. And that year, that's kind of I was already re-engaged in the community, and I went to Squad Up, and that was a great opportunity as well, right? As we kind of all kind of know, yeah, last year was the first iteration of it. It was in Orlando, I believe. It was an
yeah.
amazing turnout. A brother here spoke on stage here. That's kind of I first saw the name. I was like, man, is that Mundo? Is that Mando? Who's this guy?
You know, Pace always gets my name confused. I never had the heart to tell him.
But
He
you
always
do now. I give you permission now. And he'll appreciate it. He'll appreciate all these, dude. Those are the things that he loves, man. No, just this is how you say it. This is how you do it. Like I just texted him this morning. Because we're doing a golf retreat in Monterey, California. That's going to be our first retreat together. And
Yeah.
I pulled out an old dusty golf club because we're doing a golfing event the first day. And I just sent him a picture of me swinging the golf club, stuff like that he enjoys, right? That it kind of energizes him and keeps him engaged with the community. It gives him that superpower to carry on.
I don't know how that man does it, dude. He was saying the other day, he was like, "Yeah, I got 200 unread text messages. That's just from yesterday." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, I get like 20 or 30 people reaching out a day, and sometimes I'm just like, stop.
He's cultivated this superpower, and you see, we're seeing Pace 2025 pace, right? But this iteration of pace, I think, started when he kind of first started his journey into this space, right after he started flipping, and he and Elaine Brown kind of introduced him into this world of creative financing, a subject to. I think that's kind of where it all kind of started over again, and he just created his own community and stuff, and it just doesn't stop. And I think he just feeds off of everybody. He just lives and dies this community. This is his family. This is literally his family. He makes deals with you, his boy. You're his boy. You know what I'm saying? This is the things that happen in this community, and that's why I think it just energizes his spirit. I actually questioned one time, how does he not get overwhelmed with the love? Like literally, how does he not just literally break down when people just tell him their life stories and tell him what he's impacted on their lives and his family's lives? How does he absorb all this energy? It's just amazing.
Yeah, dude, it's incredible. It's incredible. So I mean, he's definitely the gold standard of what to achieve, and really in all aspects of family, life, work, all of it, building relationships, building businesses, building wealth. I mean, pretty much everything you name it, right?
Yeah, he's something special. I discovered something when I came out of our first retreat in Scottsdale. Coming out of there, I remember uh, it was like the second day. I was like, yo, I found my home. Literally, I was like, I found my home. As investors, I'm sure you've been to other masterminds or programs that you've joined. That's kind of our life. This is what we are, right? Always seeking new information, how we get better. And then, like I said, being there that first day, the second day, it just kind of hit me. I was like, wow, I found my home. There's no other place that I need to be at ever again. This is literally the last stop for me. You know what I'm saying? This is where I set my foundations, my new foundations with my new family, with my new friends, my future friends and allies. And that there's nowhere else I need to be at. Everything I need that I want to grow is here. Everything.
Yeah, no, dude, it's amazing. So I know figuring out kind of like your vision, right? We call it the Mount Everest in Owners Club is a big thing. So tell me about your Mount Everest.
Well, it started at, I think, actually pace set the table for a lot of us, to be honest, right? Uh, in regards to the affordability crisis going on in our country, Pace has an ability to anticipate what's going to happen next, right? That's one of his superpowers, and it's kind of mine as well. Anticipation. I always been a great anticipator. So he presented this ideas of kind of where the market which was shifting, right? So he said, man, there's a space for us to fill, which is a co-living rent by room model. And here in New York City, people break up their apartment and they rent the room. So it's not like it's a foreign concept to me. So I was like, and
Yeah.
that, yeah, and that's how kind of people survive, literally just to survive and get by, right? And it resonated with me. I was like, yeah, this is a thing. But people would do it here in apartments, right? So I was like, man, this is how people get over the hump, let's say. So when he kind of presented that idea to us, it started resonating to me. I started absorbing it. I was like, man, this makes sense. People are more transient. People are getting married less. Life has become so unaffordable. People's salaries are not matching the cost of inflation. People are getting priced out of being in a place they find that to be decent where they can live, right? All these little factors started just resonating to me, and I was like, man, this is kind of the mission I want to be aligned with, right? As Tim Story says, aligned to aligned to your assignment. And like I said, it took a little while for me to get there, but this is what I identified, and this is where I wanted to go for the reasons I explained to you. So I identified some markets in the southeast because I'm in the northeast. I'm in New York City. It's not a place that kind of I want to be invested in. So I kind of did some market research, and I said Atlanta and Dallas are the first markets that I want to break in this model. And I started building relationships there since, literally building relationships, flippers, agents, people doing co-living, just to get in that space and just dig in trenches, right? You dig in the well before you get thirsty. So that's kind of what I've been doing over the last 4 or 5 months. And for me, it's to help 10,000 people, 10,000 people get a place that they can afford to live at, a rent by room model where they can grow out of. Even if they want to stay, they can stay and make a savings where they can actually move on. And there's a portion that maybe that I can provide some sort of financial education as well. But people have to be willing to accept that. Those are things that I've kind of added into my Mount Everest, not something that's concrete, something that's probably maybe case by case purposes, because you need some financial education. You're in that position for a reason. I'm assuming 9 out of 10 people are there because they can't find a place to live, or their salaries. They're low end wage makers, right? They work in stadiums, super centers and stuff. They're going to remain in that status if they don't make some changes, right?
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? Maybe there's some financial education that can be provided as well. But again, they have to be accepting towards that. So that's something I'm also considering, right? And then I'm also considering doing some ground ups as well. As I grow into the model, I'm growing and buying existing properties and remaking them into 7 bedrooms. Let's say 3 bedrooms, two bathrooms. Let's say whatever kind of the bones of the house is. I'm just adding additional rooms. But I said, if I was in this situation, how would you feel living in a house in the confines like this? So I just said, you know what? As I grow into the space, as I get like, let's say 20 and I feel comfortable in the space, I'm gonna then pivot and try some ground up constructions as well. In Dallas, I went to a ground up construction 2 days prior to our Squad Up Summit start, and we
Mhm.
saw a ground up build in South Dallas. It was 14 bedrooms with the bathrooms included. So it was 7 on first floor, 7 on the second floor, and I loved the build. It kind of made sense how it was kind of built. That was very feng shui. Everything was automated, which
How
was
many
great.
uh how many baths were there in that?
This is going to my point. It was individual bathrooms, so it's 14 bedrooms or 14 bathrooms, and those
That's
are models
nice.
that resonated for me. For the reason is, you come in from a hard day's work, you're struggling, you're trying to make your life better. You come into this house that you're renting a room, and let's say the bathrooms are occupied and you really need to go to the bathroom, right? Whatever, for
Mhm.
whatever reason, and you're in there like, damn, I can't even get in my bathroom in my own house. This doesn't make any sense. All these frustrations built up. So that's why I said maybe there's a pivot as I get more established in the space that I can then build ground up constructions. I think that room included with that bathroom makes a lot of sense. I think for the privacy factor for a
Yeah.
person and for retention. It's just
Oh yeah.
something. It's just something that makes sense to me to be able to grow out something and not be people still being so transient as well. Maybe this is a dude. You have a bathroom and a bedroom in your bath. You good. You can move up from there, right? You feel comfortable. I got my home settled in. Cool. I got that. Now I can expand and start to grow. And like I said, if I interject some education, financial education, I think that's going to be a game changer as well. How's that going to work? Again, we'll see.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I have a co-living property. It's 5 bed, 3 bath, and that's a real struggle with people, not having a private bath. There's three beds on the bottom floor that have to share one bath, and 2 beds on the two rooms on the top that share a bath. And it's kind of like a lot of the higher quality tenants that call in, they're immediately turned off by the fact that they don't have a private bath. So it's been a struggle for me just filling it, just because you mentioned the retention factor is that they have to share a bath, and it's tough.
It's tough keeping it all the way real. You come in, somebody bombed the bathroom. It's a
Yeah,
reality. And it's not your kid, it's not your parent. You're like, what the hell is this, right?
yeah,
Imagine how would you feel, right? You like, yo, I can't deal with this. Now you might get angry, right? For the sake of getting angry, and you might stick out like a sore thumb in the house. It's not you did nothing bad. It's just the condition, right? So I'm
yeah,
just trying to see how it can grow out into a different condition that you had that privacy. Those issues would never occur, let's say, right? So again, this is a model that I'm excited to explore. I'm looking forward actually to it. And like I said, all these answers are in our community. All these answers to build and to construct and to leverage management. All these opportunities are literally in my community. So when I went to when I went to that house, this guy, you kind of have to work with him. He has kind of like a course, a program that you have to work with him. So I wasn't aligned with what he was doing. It wasn't kind of my thing. And I just realized when we drove back to the hotel, I said, you know what? I'm just going to extract the information that made sense to me, right? From what I when I saw and I gathered, I'm gonna take that. And I said to myself, all my answers are in this room. I don't need to go anywhere else. And I just started connecting with people in that space who are kind of a builder and so on, because I know that's going to be an iteration that I'm going to pivot to eventually.
Nice. Nice. So maybe tell me a little bit about, and I apologize, I got amateur hour over here. My computer's about to die. I need to grab my charger. But while I grab my charger, why don't you tell us a little bit about how people in the community can help you out and achieve your Mount Everest?
I love that. Thank you for that. So yeah, I've crafted a buy box that's in my blink that I'll give to Mundo to post in my buy box. Is a video. So it's actually like a 2 minute video. It gives you a detail of exactly the markets I'm investing, and
Amazing.
actually broke it down into some zip codes that I will be adding other zip codes as I get more familiar to the places I want to invest. And that's how you can reach out. It's literally on my blink, is the first link on the blink. You watch a video, and if you want to join the journey, you have properties, you're a wholesaler, you're a connector, whatever, you can help. All that information is an easy button that you press on my blink.
Bro, could you make it any easier? I mean, come on. You're like spoon feeding it to people, right? That's
Dude, I've
amazing.
made it so easy. I just leverage data that I've gathered. Let's say Pad Split is a kind of an Airbnb for co-living. They have core markets. I just extracted the data of their biggest markets where they move the most traffic, right? And I said, oh, these are uh, zip codes I identify as going to be very fruitful. So I said, let me extract that information, and I just put that on my buy box as well. And I'm doing that copy and pasting for Dallas. I'm more versed in Atlanta market. I partnered on some co-livings there. But being in Dallas, I got some intel and I got to meet up with some great people in the Dallas market. And now I'm just gonna again update that buy box as well. And it's ever changing. Like I said, once you hit that buy box, I just made an easy button. It has a video. It's going to tell you exactly what I'm looking for. And then I help you with zip codes. If you want to align with me, you want to work with me, then let's make it happen.
Nice. So you're in Gator, but it sounds like you're more of a buyer than like a traditional Gator, right?
I am a natural buy and holder. Again, my background, like I said, my mom is an investor forever. She held property forever. And it's kind of my nature. It's kind of like a record or music. You hear music and say, oh, I like all type of music. But at the end of the day, you're going to revert to kind of what your favorite is, right? And I kind of just revert that on the Gator side. Like I said, I've been burned previously, so I just kind of been shying away from it. I'm actually stepping out of that, and I identified places where but every time you come out these retreats, you're gonna identify something that you want to get better at, right? If you're a basketball player, you're right-handed, you got to work on that left hand, So that's kind of how I think about things. Every time I come out, how do I get better? And sometimes it's your who's, not how's, right? I need to align with people who do this better than I do, and that's something that I don't want to do myself, right? For time purposes or whatever it is. But you can find someone to align with and partner with, the JV with, that has a certain skill set, right? So I've identified things like that as well. And coming out of here, I identified a skill set that I want to get better at, which is capital raising. It's something that I need to get better at, right? So I'm aligning more people. Like on my podcast, I'll have a podcast called Investor Deli, where I'll be bringing on people who are actually doing capital raising just to build relationships and gather knowledge, kind of how people's working is. I've raised capital before, but years ago. So it's just something, like I said, it's a skill set that I know I will be developing over the next 6 months to a year, like I said, to create opportunities as well.
That's amazing. Do you have anything where you partner with, or like, can new people join your team or whatever you're looking for and helping you in your journey? Do you
For
have some sort
sure.
of like orbit program or something like that?
For sure. On the orbit side, for sure. People can reach out to me. I'm looking for people who could do some outreach, literally Facebook outreach, Instagram, the social medias, follow ups and stuff like that. Those are things that I'm literally doing now that I love to offboard, literally connecting with other people, which I do a lot of. And you would understand you do a lot of this stuff as well. And this is kind of my first iteration. I want to kind of offshoot. I'm actually trying to leverage also AI and actually create maybe AI agents as well, something that I can do to offshoot that. So that's places I'm very interested in as well, leveraging AI as well. But yeah, anyone in the community who want to connect, like I said, I definitely appreciate that, and I look forward to connecting with you. And I also have a merch brand. If you see what I'm wearing, I also have a merch brand called Investor Deli, and I have tons of merch. If you go on my Blink, my second Blink, you're gonna see I have a merch store that I created. It's kind of investor-driven merch store, kind of emulating and copying what Gymshark did for the fitness industry. Like if you work out, you go to gym, Gymshark identifies, that
Yeah.
resonates with people who worked out. So I said, let me build something out that kind of resonates with investors, real estate investors, and so if you go on there, you're going to see it again. It's called the Investor Deli store. I love your support, and again, it's something I've been growing out as well. It's a passion. I've been very artistic all my life, and it's something I wanted to create. I said, why not me? Why not me? Right?
Yeah.
So
I love it,
again,
man. Yeah, we don't do shirt and ties here in real estate. We're all about the hoodies, bro.
yeah,
We're
this
about
is
the
all
hoodies.
hoodies and tees. As you see, this is a hoodie, and this is my store here. You can see in the hat. So I'm always promoting it, and I love the support as I grow it out.
That's amazing, bro. So tell me, you mentioned some of the benefits you got from Owners Club, but if you could just kind of recap for people, what has Owners Club done for you in the time? Because you've been in it over a year now. This is going on your second year.
Yeah, we're the founders, we're the OCOGs, dude. Like we talked earlier, it's changed everything for me. I've met some of the best friends that I'll have forever. Literally, just on the friendships. Forget about the what we're gonna learn in the real estate sector in the space of business buying and stuff. Just the friendships I've developed are lifelong friendships. Starting there, it's hard to encompass what it means in a conversation. You have to kind of be in it to know it. That's how I've been describing it to people who are interested. Say like you, in a year from now, people are gonna ask you. Maybe you have a different answer than me, but I tell people you have to be in it to know it, right? Just the intimacy of being in a room of 400 people where people can get connected. Like I told you, we had Marcus Leonis come in last year, and he just peeled so many layers off of so many people. It was an emotional setting where people got to be vulnerable, and we got to connect on a deep level. Like, man, that's my brother, that's my sister going through it, right? And you kind of resonate with you, be like, damn, what are your struggles, man? I could do better. I can let some of this stuff go. You know what I'm saying? You can start peeling off these layers. Just a self. I call it uh, self development through real estate. Right? Real estate happens to be the vehicle we're doing a business mind. But when you get in this room, it's really self development. How you craft yourself, how you get better, how you hone your skills, how you let go of the old you, or like David Goggins says, kill the old you. You know, all these things are true. I killed my old me a little bit prior to joining Owners Club. I was already in that journey, and I was able to do that. Let me tell you a short story. I worked in the healthcare sector for 25 plus years. Uh, and prior to my mom passing away, like I said, I told mom, I said, I'm leaving this job. This is a life, it's a dead end, not dead end jobs, but you got to work till you're 65. A traditional job, you get a pension, you retire when you're old, wearing Pampers, and you go on a cruise. Cool, right? And I was like, that's not me. So I told my mom, I said, Mom, I'm going to be at this maybe 3 to 5 more years. Initially, she was shocked. Like, what do you mean, right? And I told her, first of all, you created this monster, so you know what I'm talking about. So then she kind of absorbed it, say, all right, I get it. And then so I left my job, and let me tell you, I say 3 years prior to it, I had to recondition myself. First you gotta analyze yourself, and you gotta know yourself to reanalyze yourself, right? So it's a journey in discovery. So here in New York, you ride the transit system, and I take the L train, and the L train takes you to the last stop, and then the last stop it veers two different directions. this side, that side. So if it goes on this side, people get off on this side, the doors. So everyone shifts to the doors. Everyone rushes to the doors, right? The rat race. And they want to run up the stairs to the next subway, to the next place, to the next destination. And I said, that's the first thing I have to break. That's the first thing I have to break. So you have to recognize these things. And what I did, I said, you know what? You're going to be the last person that leaves this cart. Either it's a police officer or a homeless person, but every day you're going to be the last person to leave this cart. And that's what I did to start reconditioning myself. I also separated myself from the pack. All my friends and colleagues at lunchtime or on break time, you want to hang out and talk shop. Oh, my supervisor didn't give me vacation. All that shop talk. That has to stop. And I said, you know what? In the summer times, you're going to sit outside in the park. Central Park is 2 blocks from my job. I used to go in the park, take a book, listen to podcasts, be in my space, my personal space. In the winter times, I used to sit in the library by myself, and disconnected from everyone, because everyone was not going to be on this journey that I was on. It's going to be my journey, right? So I literally had to recondition myself to get out my own way, literally my own invisible walls. I had to break through them. If not, you still be in that space. So these are things that you have to recondition yourself. So people who are in the workforce and are trying to escape, I hope kind of this resonates with you, and maybe you could model it for yourself and how you get out of your own trappings. And again, it'll be super successful at it because it worked for me. I have another story. I bought a quad in Jersey, and it was rat infested, dude. And I had the biggest phobia for rats. Oh my dude, like yo, oh my god. So I bought this building, and I'm like, yo, what is going on? So I had to set these glue traps. I tell the story all the time because it resonates so much with me. So I
I've
set
been
this
there.
glue trap right up against the wall, and I come in one day to check, right, and I see this mouse jump over the trap. I'm like, oh, I literally saw him jump over. I'm like, oh snap, this is crazy. And I said to myself, this is gonna be a lesson. I don't know how in your life it's gonna play out, but it's gonna be a lesson. I told myself that when I saw that in my head, I was like, yo, this is amazing. And I translated to us as people. We know people in our lives that would jump into that glue trap. We know people that would walk directly into that trap, and they see it and they would get stuck in that trap, right? And I said to myself, man, I know this mouse is smarter than a lot of people I know. You know what I'm saying? So, right? So I said to myself, dude, you gotta always be mindful to jump over these traps wherever they lie. Because what happens, you're gonna get stuck and you're going to waste time there, or you might quit and you might stop, right? So these are things that I kind of take heat of. And I also said, you know what? These trappings are not for you. Always try to evade these traps. They're out there, y'all. Be careful.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that story. I had to deal with a similar situation not too long ago. I couldn't bear myself to think about any sort of metaphors in the story. I was just like, get me out of here as quick as possible.
Dude, those are real things. Those are real life scenarios that I presented to myself. Like I said, I'm super artsy in that way. So I create scenarios for myself to work in my advantage, right? To escape myself or my old self. If not, I would still been there. I would have still been trapped in that way, right? So it's all in between here. It's all in the noggin, how you process, how you finesse opportunities and get out of your own way. Sometimes you got to recognize, man, I've done so many things wrong, man. Something's got to change, right? Something's got to change, and you got to own it.
That's amazing.
And these are things that you're going to learn inside the community, right? You're going to listen to other people's experiences. Like, damn, man, he went through that too. Man, I can resonate, man. Damn, you might have a tear. You're like, damn, that's kind of, I hear you, brother. You know what I'm saying? I hear you. I'm not alone in this. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you get in this room of intimacy, it's just different. It's just different, brother. You know what I'm saying? I look forward to you being in these rooms with us, man. Like I told you, I'm so excited for these new people coming in. You guys, I hope, like I said, I hope you guys take it to another level. Honestly, this is
Oh
is
yeah.
what you get out of the community. You get people who want to be more givers, right? Being in these rooms, people want more for you than sometimes they just want you to keep winning. You know what I'm saying? Because they know that law of reciprocity eventually is gonna pay off. But if we all growing and growing, man, we all winning, man. We all winning. We all
That's
winning.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, I'm excited for the growth. I mean, I didn't even I wasn't even in it last year, and I kind of was just watching from the outside, trying to just pick up little tidbits and every now and then. So what are some of the things that you're working on this year specifically that you think is going to be, you talked about killing your old version of yourself, right? Last year. I assume in a year from now, you're going to be looking back at this version that you currently are right now as your previous version, right? So what does that look like in the next 12 months?
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's a great point because you always want to kind of peel out of your shell and keep always peeling. I think it's infinite; you can always continue to peel out yourself. Uh, Actually, it's keep going growing in the space, buying more co-living opportunities. Like I said, living in my why, right? Not just having a why, but living in my why and my mission and my reason, and be able to provide housing for people kind of who need it. Right at this point, is a need, it's not a want, it's not a trend, it's kind of the way it is. So just growing in that space, creating more value to more members as well, oncoming members, and keep on growing to the next me. That some of it I probably don't even see, that I can't imagine, right? Which is a great thing. Like, man, Tim Story said to us, in 36 to 40 months, some of you might not recognize who you guys are, right? So I'm look forward to those things as well, to the unimaginable. There's things that I probably be like, oh my God, look, I'm going to play golf at Pebble Beach this year. You think last year I was thinking about that? I had no idea, right? These opportunities. So I'm just know that I'm blessed to be in this position, that these blessings are going to continue to happen. And I look forward to that. It's continual growth in the space, continued personal growth, which I think is even more important, right? Because that's what opens you up to other opportunities to be grown with other members in the community. I think you got to do a lot of work yourself, right? You want to grow, but definitely, and I think that connection, then connect, that stuff connects with your business, aligns with your business, right? It all kind of aligns. You have to have faith and belief. Like today, had a struggle that I was going through, right? I was like, damn, how do I overcome this, right? How do I get better? And then the answer appeared. The answer appeared in a person. You have to know, you have to listen to the whispers sometimes, right? Because these messages come in ways that you really have to be in tune. And I got a message from somebody that I reached out on a post, invited a collab on a post that I made. And then I got back conversation. We started engaging. And then after the conversation, I realized, oh snap, I got my answer. I literally got my answer. So I was able kind of to let that go and on to the next problem. Because us as investors, they call us real estate investors, but we're really problem solvers, right? This is kind of at the end of the day what we do. That's a fancy title. Like when I was a chef, you're a cook. You know what I'm saying? You cook food for people and ingest. So chef is a fancy word. I try to get away from all that fancy smancy stuff. I just like to get to that nitty gritty. And that's kind of we are. We're problem solvers. So I want to be able to solve bigger problems, right? Bigger problems coming along. I want to solve bigger problems. So if there's big problems out there, bring them. I'm ready to take you on.
Man, that's amazing. I can't wait to see the future version of yourself.
Oh man, I'm excited, man. Like I said, even my wife noticed today something. She was like, "Oh man, I was able to conversate with you more today. It felt like different." I was like, which was a great response, right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes we struggle as entrepreneurs. Sometimes we're all not aligned in our personal space. If you're married or have a girlfriend, sometimes it's just that matters so much. But your home life matters so much. So when she gave me the response today, I loved it, right? Because I was like, man, that's what I'm talking about. So I'm just gonna keep on doing what I've been doing. That right there, I want more of that, right? So and I did that intentionally. I've been doing some stuff like to get better at home as well. That stuff matters, guy. That stuff
Yeah.
matters. So when she gave me that response and I saw the smile on her face, I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy. That's exactly what I want.
Thank you for that, man. I'm gonna incorporate because I when you said that, it just made me think about, on Sundays I'm sitting down like a lot of owners club members are and kind of prioritizing my calendar for the week. And I was thinking about, okay, a lot of it is focused on business, right? And then I have some very specific like carved out family time, and I have, in that family time, it's thinking about spending time with kids. And as you were saying that, I'm thinking, where am I fitting my wife in this? Like there needs to be something actionable and specific, date night, like whatever, me doing something around the house that I normally don't do, that I don't have time for, that she would really appreciate. So I need to incorporate that. And that's like, that has to be a non-negotiable, right? Like it has to be. And I'm not doing that right now. So I'm going to do that. So I appreciate that comment. So I want to start incorporating that.
Dude, and I love that because I got it from someone else, right? I got it from Doran. If you heard his speech, he said, I buy my wife flowers every Friday. I don't know if you remember that. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And he said that. So I said, you know what? I have to then do that in my way, right? What do I do when I get back home to buy her flowers every Friday? So since we got back, I've been working on my every Fridays, right? And this morning, I got great feedback for the last 10 days that we kind of been back, right? Because this is something that I planned out as well, going back to what did you get out the experience and what you want to get better at, right? Coming back home, let's say. And those are one of the things that I wanted to get better at, right? Was like, man, my relationship got to be better and stronger. It's got to be, right? So I said, how do I create my flower Fridays, in my way that I can get that positive feedback, and I did today, so it was awesome. That was the greatest win so far this week, for real.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. No, it's family's really important. I think everyone can do a better job making that a priority, especially if you're a high achiever. You're focused on growing, but you also got to grow your family too.
Yeah, man, all that ties together. I think it all has to kind of tie in somewhere, right? Somewhere doesn't mean that we have to be. This is what she loves real estate, business, buying as well, and all this stuff. That does, sometimes that doesn't correlate, but there still has to be a tie that binds, right? You have to have your space, right? Like you said, a non-negotiable. So I hope that works. I hope that helps out, right? Because sometimes we got to hear it, right, to kind of be
Yeah.
to do that too. And these are the things that we're going to be experiencing, right? Just to feed off of those experiences. Damn, Mando told me something. Man, you know what? I gotta do like when Doran said it, man. Doran said that I gotta do that. This is what you're gonna get, man.
Heck yeah, man. I love it. I love it. So we're going to make sure, because it sounds like you got all the value in your Blink card. So we got to make sure we post that in the
Yeah, that
video
blink
for
is hot
sure.
fire. That blink
Yeah,
is
dude, it's on
fire.
fire. Do you
Again,
recommend
these
most
are
people
things
reach
you're
out
gonna
on
work on.
Instagram? What's that?
These are things you're gonna work on. Like I said, the
Yeah.
God is in all these details. You're just gonna be so honed in, right? So honed in as a unit, right? Us as a unit, we're leaders of the industry now. This is why you stepped into, right? Leaders of the industry. So you gotta be aligned. You gotta be honed in. We gotta be an army of one, ready to conquer, right? Pace can't do it on his own. This is something that he's needed. He want to build. 400 clones, not clones of him, but clones of yourself, and he needs us to be out there and put our best foot forward. And whatever it is that he puts out there, make sure you match, right? Make sure you bring that fire. Make sure you bring the
Yeah.
best of yourself. That's where you're really going to get the value out of being in this community is giving your best, literally giving your best, right? Bringing your best self to the table, and you're going to be able to experience everything you want out of the community.
Yeah. No, I could really tell, man, even without anyone telling me, like I knew who was in Owners Club because it was like a playbook that they were executing, right? And you could see it, and that playbook had like everything you can think of like, man, this guy really knows what he's doing, right? He's got everything, he's got all his ducks in a row, and he's executing, and he's building a brand and doing all these things. So I mean, that to me, that was just a no-brainer in terms of joining because of that.
Dude, if you look back, you look at the title of Squad Up and then Summit, right? And then you see the alignment with the Summit. You see the alignment with the Squad Up because that's what we do. We squad up. So that's already built in. And then he attached that little word Summit, right? And Summit, and you're climbing to a goal, right? You're always ever climbing to the next goal. And who's going to be going on that journey with me, right? Some people might not make it, but the higher you elevate, the more elite the team gets, right? So now we separated ourselves from a team. Now we're a different pack. Now we're at base camp, right? And we built up a year to get literally to base camp is picking up tools, putting in, picking up another tool, put in the back, picking up another tool, put in the back, picking up, dude, a simple task for me. So it was super, a calendar, dude, a calendar. Doesn't make sense, right? Some people be like, "Oh, that's all I learned was a calendar." Too bad for you if that was your attitude. For me, I was like, "Yo, dude, I used to put alarms on my phone. That was my calendar." And sometimes I just forget the alarm, right? And kind of when he introduced, and then he goes into detail how you structure, how you build it out, and you build money making activities into your calendar so you stay aligned to actually what you want to do and how you make money in your activities. I was like, yo, dude, I even texted, I said, where do I go from here? Like, how much, I feel like you solved so many of my issues literally by a calendar. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe like you've given me so much just on a calendar. Like I could align myself to my schedule. Dude, again, I never lived under that. I was, freestyler, and no alignment, right? No kind of structure.
Mhm.
And dude, the little things just to get you all there. And he has all these skill sets. Remember, he's been on a journey for a while, self-discovering, and now he's bringing this food to the pack. Right? He's around high elite people, high earners that they have skill sets that we're growing into, right? And he's just giving it to us, like feeding the pack, always feeding the pack. And all you gotta do is put them in your toolkit and
I love it.
get ready for the climb.
I love it, man. That's amazing.
Yeah. You gonna love it, brother.
I think you won the battle today. Mando versus Mundo, just amazing. We gotta pose here. This has got to be our thumbnail, right?
You gotta be.
Yeah. I love that.
I love it, brother. I can't wait
Oh,
to see you. I can't wait to see you, brother. For real. Give you a big hug and welcome to the community. And like I said, I hope you guys carry on the tradition that I talked to you about and take it to the next level. So when the next members come on, you set that same tradition that we kind of put on the table and just build it out and build it out and build it out and build it out.
amazing, man. Well, thank you for coming on to the show. It was awesome having you. We'll make sure to put your contact info. Do you want people to reach out on Instagram, or how is your preferred method?
Sure. On Instagram, you can follow me at Manifesting Mando. On IG, Manifesting Mando. On YouTube, my YouTube channel is Investor Deli on YouTube. Or like I said, Mundo's gonna post my link there somewhere. And again, we're in the community. If you want to get to me, you will find me.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks again for coming on the show, and I'm sure we'll be seeing each other very soon.
For sure. Appreciate you, big dog.
See you, man.